Chosen one, stop right here. Do not touch it. Do not answer yet. Do not reach for the thing your hand keeps moving toward. Heaven did not bring this message across your path so you could keep fighting a battle God has already stepped into. Stay still. Listen closely. Something is being handled beyond what your eyes can see. You already felt this warning before these words reached you. Your spirit tightened. Your chest became heavy. Your hand almost moved. But something deeper whispered, "Wait." And even though your mind tried to explain it away, your soul knew there was a reason you were being restrained. This is not random. This is not fear. This is a divine interruption. Do not text them. Do not check again. Do not reopen the door just to see if it is still there. Do not explain your heart to someone who already heard the truth and chose confusion anyway. There is a moment when God stops giving you more words because your silence has become the message. That moment has arrived. You have been feeling pulled in two directions. One part of you wants to fix it. One part of you wants to leave it alone. One part of you wants proof. One part of you already knows. And that inner battle has been wearing you down because you keep mistaking urgency for instruction. But not every urgent feeling comes from heaven. Some of what you are feeling is pressure. Some of it is panic. Some of it is the old wound that thinks if you do not act right now, everything will fall apart. You have lived so long in survival that stillness feels dangerous. Peace feels suspicious. Waiting feels like losing. But this time, waiting is the weapon. Chosen one, I need you to understand this clearly. God did not say stay still because nothing is happening. God said stay still because too much is happening. Heaven is moving pieces you cannot see, removing hands you cannot fight, closing doors you would have kept, forcing open, and exposing motives you were never meant to investigate yourself. That is why your spirit has felt strange today. You could not focus. You kept feeling like you needed to check something. Maybe a message, maybe an account, maybe a person, maybe a door you thought was closed, maybe a situation you already surrendered, but your nervous system keeps dragging back into your hands. You told God you trusted Him. Then your fear asked for proof. You prayed for release. Then your memory asked to look one more time. You said you were done. Then your heart started searching for a reason to return. This is the place where many chosen ones lose ground, not because they are weak, but because they are used to carrying what God never assigned them to carry. You are a helper. You are a watcher. You feel shifts before other people notice them. You can walk into a room and sense the atmosphere before anyone speaks. You can hear a change in someone's voice and know something is wrong. That gift is real. But the enemy has tried to twist that gift into constant responsibility. Because you notice everything, you think you must fix everything. Because you feel deeply, you think you must respond quickly. Because you can sense danger, you think you must move before God speaks. But discernment without obedience becomes exhaustion. And compassion without boundaries becomes a chain around your own spirit. This is why the command is so strong. Do not touch it. Not because you do not care. Not because you are cold. Not because you are giving up. But because your hands have been too involved in something heaven is trying to purify without your fingerprints on it. God is not asking for your panic. He is asking for your trust. There is a person you may want to correct. There is a conversation you may want to reopen. There is a situation you may want to control. There is a door you may want to push. And deep inside, you already know that if you touch it right now, you will not be moving from peace. You will be moving from fear. That is the sign. When your action comes from peace, it carries clarity. When your action comes from fear, it demands relief. When God instructs you, your spirit may feel serious, but it will not feel frantic. The pressure to move immediately is often the bait. The wisdom to wait is often the protection. You have been here before. You reached out before the right time. You explained too much. You warned someone who did not value the warning. You gave access back to a person God was removing. And after you touched it, you felt drained, confused, and spiritually heavy. as if your peace leaked out through the very door you reopened. This time, God is stopping you earlier. This time, heaven is interrupting the pattern before it repeats. This time, the warning is not gentle, because the cost of ignoring it is not small. What happens next will shock you, but only if you let God do it without adding your hand to the process. The thing you are not supposed to touch may look harmless. That is why it is dangerous. It may look like one message, one question, one check, one apology, one small visit to the past. But the enemy often hides old bondage inside small permissions, because he knows you would reject a giant trap if it looked obvious. So he makes it look reasonable. Just check once, just answer politely, just explain your side, just make sure they are not upset, just see if the door is open, just protect what might be yours. But chosen one, every just is not innocent. Sometimes, a small touch is how a cycle gets permission to begin again. You have broken too many cycles to return now. You have cried too many silent tears to reopen what God already dried up. You have survived too much spiritual warfare to hand your peace back to the same confusion with a different face. This instruction is not punishment. It is protection from repetition. There is a reason this message carries the words, "Stay still." Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is not denial. Stillness is a holy refusal to move from fear. It is when your flesh is loud, your emotions are shaking, your history is screaming, but your spirit says, "I will wait for God." That kind of stillness frightens the enemy. He knows how to fight your reaction. He knows how to use your words. He knows how to twist your kindness. He knows how to provoke your need for closure. But when you become still under divine instruction, he loses access to the part of you he used to control through urgency. That is why the pressure increased. That is why the thought keeps returning. That is why your sleep may have felt broken. That is why your body felt tense before anything visible happened. Your spirit detected movement in the unseen, and the enemy tried to make you respond before the evidence could come into the light. Do not be surprised if the thing you are tempted to touch is connected to an old wound. Rejection, abandonment, being misunderstood, being replaced, being ignored, being accused. These wounds do not always scream. Sometimes they whisper through ordinary choices, asking you to grab what God is asking you to release. But you are not the same person anymore. The old you needed to know everything. The old you needed to defend every motive. The old you needed people to understand your heart immediately. The old you could not sleep until the situation felt settled. But the new you knows that heaven does not need your anxiety to produce justice. Let that land deeply. God does not need your anxiety to produce justice. God does not need your overthinking to create protection. God does not need your checking to confirm his timing. And God does not need your hands on something he already took into his own. Your job right now is not to perform. Your job is to obey. This is hard for you because you were trained by pain. You learned to read faces. You learned to predict moods. You learned to prevent explosions before they happened. You learned to become useful so people would not leave. And now God is healing that survival pattern by asking you to stop managing what he is exposing. The urge to touch it is not proof that you should. The urge to fix it is not proof that it is yours. The urge to respond is not proof that heaven released you to speak. Sometimes the loudest urge is the last pull of an old identity that knows it is losing control over your future. Chosen one, hear this with your whole spirit. There are things God will not reveal while your hands are still manipulating the surface. There are motives that will not show themselves while you keep covering for people. There are doors that will not close while you keep standing in the doorway, afraid of what silence will cost you. Your silence is not empty. It is giving heaven room. Your stillness is not passive. It is removing interference. Your refusal to touch it is not weakness. It is a declaration that you trust the unseen hand of God more than the trembling hand of your own fear. That is why this moment matters. Someone needed this exact warning before making one more move. Someone was about to send one more message. Someone was about to accept one more invitation. Someone was about to check one more sign from a place God already told them to leave. If that is you, this is your confirmation. Stay still. Do not dress panic in spiritual language. Do not call control wisdom. Do not call obsession discernment. Do not call returning obedience. Your spirit knows the difference, even when your emotions try to blur it. The peace of God will not ask you to betray the instruction of God. And the instruction today is simple. Do nothing. Stay still. Let the dust settle. Let the hidden thing rise. Let the wrong voice reveal itself. Let the false door close without you pushing it. Let the person expose their own heart without you begging for honesty. Let the situation speak without your interference. God is not silent. God is arranging. You may not see it yet, but heaven is already moving. There are conversations happening without you. There are motives surfacing without you. There are alignments shifting without you. There are protections forming without you. And the shock will be this. The very thing you thought needed your hand will change the moment you remove your hand from it. That is why you must stay with this message. In the next part, you will understand why stillness is not the absence of power, but the highest form of obedience in this season. And once you see it, you will stop calling your restraint delay. You will recognize it as divine strategy. Chosen one. Stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is movement under command. It is your spirit, refusing to run ahead of God. It is your nervous system, learning that peace is safe. And for someone who has survived years of pressure, this kind of peace can feel strange before it feels holy. You have been trained to rush. You have been trained to respond. You have been trained to watch every shift in the room and adjust yourself before anyone has to explain what they need. But God is not asking you to perform that old survival dance anymore. He is teaching you how to stand while heaven works. This is why doing nothing feels so difficult. Your body remembers what happened when you did not act fast enough. Your mind remembers the times you were blamed, abandoned, misunderstood, or left without answers. So when God says, "Stay still," the wounded part of you thinks stillness will cost you everything. But the Father is not leading you back into loss. He is leading you out of false responsibility. He is showing you that not every burden with your name near it has your assignment on it. Some things are near you because they are being removed from you. And if you grab them too soon, you may keep what God is trying to take. That is the reframe. You are not being ignored. You are being protected. You are not being delayed. You are being hidden. You are not being silenced because your voice has no power. You are being silenced because your voice carries so much power that God will not let you spend it on the wrong battle. Now listen closely, because I am going to name something early, and I am not going to force it on you. Later, I will speak more about a simple 7-minute audio called The Genius Song. It uses brain entrainment to support gamma clarity, the kind of inner signal connected to focus, intuition, and flow. For now, do not treat that as a pitch. Treat it as a seed, because the deeper issue in this message is not whether you know what to do. The deeper issue is whether your mind is quiet enough to obey what your spirit already knows. A chosen one can receive the right warning and still miss it if inner noise becomes louder than divine instruction. That is why this matters. When fear is loud, it imitates urgency. When trauma is loud, it imitates wisdom. When exhaustion is loud, it imitates surrender. And when your inner world is crowded, the instruction of God may come as a whisper, while panic enters like a trumpet. You must learn which sound is holy. Stillness trains that discernment. It separates the voice of God from the echo of fear. It gives your spirit room to breathe. It teaches your hands that they do not have to grab everything that shakes. And it teaches your heart that love does not require you to keep entering fires God already told you to leave. You have called some things compassion that were really fear of being hated. You have called some things loyalty that were really fear of being replaced. You have called some things closure that were really addiction to the wound. This is not condemnation. This is freedom arriving with a mirror in its hand. Chosen one, the mirror is not here to shame you. It is here to show you the pattern. You were never meant to live as the emergency contact for every broken person, every unstable door, and every confusing cycle that keeps draining your oil. Your spirit was made for assignment, not endless management. There is a difference between assignment and attachment. Assignment carries grace. Attachment carries panic. Assignment may require patience, but it does not make you betray your peace. Attachment keeps asking you to prove your value by returning to places where your spirit feels smaller every time you enter. So when God says do not touch it, He may be separating assignment from attachment. He may be showing you that the thing you thought was yours to save was only yours to release. He may be letting the silence reveal whether that person wanted your presence or only your access. He may be letting the door prove whether it was divine or familiar. This is where your obedience becomes expensive. Not because God is cruel, but because your flesh still wants evidence. You want to see the apology. You want to see the reversal. You want to see the person admit the truth. You want to see the door close with a loud sound so you can finally believe it is closed. But heaven often moves quietly before it moves publicly. Roots grow underground. Oil is pressed in hidden places. Joseph was formed in silence before Pharaoh called his name. David was anointed before the throne was visible. Moses stood before water before a path appeared. Stillness comes before the witness. Do not confuse invisible movement with inactivity. God can be moving in a heart you cannot reach. God can be closing a door you cannot see. God can be turning a conversation you were not invited into. God can be protecting your name in rooms where your mouth is not present. Your absence does not limit His authority. This is why you must resist the need to insert yourself. The moment you keep trying to explain, you may interrupt exposure. The moment you keep trying to soften the consequence, you may delay correction. And the moment you keep trying to rescue someone from the result of their own choices, you may stand between them and the lesson God arranged. There is a holy boundary in this message, not a bitter boundary, not a proud boundary, a holy one, the kind that says, I will not move because panic asked me to. I will not speak because guilt pulled on me. I will not touch what God has placed under His own hand. You may feel the pull again after hearing this. That does not mean the message failed. It means the old cycle is testing whether you really heard it. A temptation can return after a warning. A memory can rise after a release. A familiar voice can call after God says, keep walking. But return is not always restoration. The enemy does not always attack by blocking you. Sometimes he attacks by offering you something slightly too early. A conversation before healing, a door before discernment, a connection before alignment, a chance before wisdom. If he cannot stop your promise, he will try to rush your hand into touching it before God completes the preparation. That is why waiting is warfare. The enemy hates a chosen one who can wait without collapsing. He hates a heart that can feel emotion without obeying it. You are becoming that kind of person. You are becoming steady. You are becoming anchored. You are becoming less available to chaos. The old version of you would have responded by now, but the new version of you is learning to let silence do what explanation never could. This is maturity under fire. Let your spirit rest in that. You do not need to force the timing. You do not need to reopen the case. You do not need to drag the truth out of someone who benefits from hiding it. Truth has a way of rising when the chosen one stops holding the water still for everyone else. But now we have to go deeper, because the real danger is not only the thing in front of you. The real danger is the old version of you that still believes you must touch everything to feel safe. And in the next part, God is going to confront that version with mercy and fire. Chosen one, now we must face the deeper thing. The danger was never only the message you wanted to send. It was never only the door you wanted to check. It was never only the person you wanted to confront. The danger is the old part of you that still believes peace is unsafe, unless your hands are controlling the outcome. That old part was trained by disappointment. It was trained by people who changed without warning. It was trained by rooms where you had to read every face before you could breathe. And after years of surviving that way, your soul learned to call control protection, even when control was quietly draining the life out of you. That is why God is not only warning you about the thing, He is confronting the pattern underneath it. You are not just tempted to touch an object, a door, a message, or a person. You are tempted to touch an old identity, the version of you that only feels safe when it is managing everything. You have called it responsibility. Sometimes it was fear. You have called it discernment. Sometimes it was panic. You have called it love. Sometimes it was attachment. And the Spirit of God is not saying this to wound you, but to separate your true gift from the wound that has been wearing its clothing. Your gift is real. You do see what others miss. You do sense shifts before they happen. You do carry a rare awareness. But the enemy knows that if he cannot steal your gift, he can overload it until it becomes a prison. He can make you feel every signal until you do not know which one came from heaven. That is where many chosen ones become exhausted. Not because they lack power, not because they lack faith, not because they are rejected by God. They are exhausted because their inner world is filled with too many alarms, and every alarm demands a response, as if silence would be dangerous. But not every alarm is divine. Some alarms are memories. Some alarms are wounds. Some alarms are old betrayals echoing through a new situation. And some alarms are enemy-planted pressure, designed to make you move before God gives permission. That is why the command today is so exact. Do not touch it. Do not touch the thing your fear is begging you to manage. Do not touch the door that only opens when your insecurity knocks. Do not touch the conversation that keeps turning your truth into a debate. Do not touch the person who only respects your presence when they feel you leaving. This is the hidden blocker. You have been asking God to reveal the truth, while also trying to control how the truth appears. You have been asking God to close the wrong door while standing with your foot inside it. You have been asking God to remove what drains you, while reaching back for the same weight when silence feels lonely. Let this go deeper. God cannot expose what you keep covering. God cannot separate what you keep reattaching. God cannot prove a door is closed while you keep turning the handle. And God cannot let the wrong voice reveal itself while you keep feeding it access through your fear of being misunderstood. You thought the test was whether they would return. The real test is whether you would return to yourself. You thought the test was whether the door would open. The real test is whether you would stop begging for doors that cost you peace. You thought the test was about them. It was about surrender. And this is where spiritual maturity begins. It begins when you can feel the urge and not obey it. It begins when you can hear the memory and not follow it. It begins when you can watch the situation shake and still say, I will not move unless God releases me to move. Chosen one. What spiritual people call discernment also needs a quiet inner signal. When the mind is flooded, even a chosen one can confuse panic with instruction. This is why clarity matters so much. A noisy mind reaches for what should be released, but a restored mind can recognize the difference between fear and God. The sign is not always dramatic. Sometimes the sign is the heaviness you feel every time you think about returning. Sometimes the sign is the peace that appears when you imagine doing nothing. Sometimes the sign is how your body tightens near a door your soul has already outgrown. You do not need to hate the thing to release it. You do not need to call it evil to stop touching it. You do not need to prove it was wrong before you obey God. Some things are simply no longer assigned to you. Some people are not enemies, but they are not access points anymore. This is why the enemy uses timing. He waits until you are tired. He waits until you are lonely. He waits until the room is quiet. He waits until you have almost healed, then sends one familiar feeling to see if your old hand will reach for the old chain. But this time, you saw it. This time, you stopped. This time, you heard the warning before the cycle restarted. And the fact that you are still listening is proof that the new you is stronger than the pull of the old pattern. Your obedience is already breaking something. Do you understand what is happening? The cycle is starving. The false door is losing power. The emotional hook is weakening. The confusion that once ruled your decisions is running out of permission. Every moment you do not touch it, you teach your spirit that peace can remain even when the old trigger screams. This is why your stillness is warfare. You are not sitting in weakness. You are standing in authority. You are not doing nothing because you have no options. You are refusing to move because heaven gave you one instruction, and one instruction from God is stronger than 10,000 arguments from fear. So here is the hidden truth. You are not stuck because God forgot you. You are not waiting because heaven is confused. You are not delayed because the promise is weak. Many times, the process slowed because your fear kept touching what faith had already surrendered. The moment your hand returns, the lesson restarts. That is why what happens next will shock you. When you finally stop touching it, the thing will reveal itself. The person will show what was hidden. The door will prove whether it was divine or counterfeit. The delay will make sense. And the peace you chased through control will arrive through surrender. Say this inside your spirit. I will not touch what God is handling. Let it be quiet, but let it be firm. I will not touch what God is handling. Let your hands relax. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath return. You are not losing power. You are returning power to the proper place. Now the loop closes. It is not just a message, a person, a door, or a decision. It is anything pulling you out of obedience and into fear. It is anything asking for your hand after God asked for your trust. It is anything that makes panic feel like responsibility and control feel like wisdom. That is what you must not touch. And now that you know why God said it, you are ready for the next revelation. Because when your mind becomes quiet enough to obey, heaven can restore the clarity that confusion tried to steal. Stay with me, because the next part shows what happens when your hands come off and God moves in full authority. Now that the hidden blocker has been named, let your spirit breathe. God did not warn you to stay still because he forgot the promise. He warned you because your hands were about to interrupt the process. The shock is not that nothing happens when you stop touching it. The shock is that so much begins to move without you. This is where many chosen ones finally understand the pattern. You were not abandoned in the silence. You were being removed from interference. Heaven was not asking you to become passive. Heaven was asking you to stop placing anxious fingerprints on a divine case that was already under holy review. The moment your hands come off it, exposure begins. The wrong voice starts revealing its own motive. The false door starts showing its weakness. The person who depended on your reaction loses the script they used to control you. And the peace you tried to force through checking begins to arrive through surrender. This is why I mentioned earlier a simple 7-minute audio called The Genius Song. I named it early because this message is not about selling you noise. It is about restoring clarity. It shows that a chosen one can receive a divine instruction and still struggle to obey it when the mind is crowded with fear. The Genius Song is built around brain entrainment, a sound-based method designed to support the brain in returning to clearer patterns. Its focus is gamma, often connected with sharp attention, intuition, flow, and those sudden moments when everything inside you becomes quiet enough to know it is not a replacement for God. It is a tool for quieting the noise around the signal. Think back to who you were before the world trained you to panic. As a child, you may have known things before people explained them. You may have sensed rooms before adults spoke. You may have learned quickly, imagined deeply, and felt guided in ways you could not name. That gift did not vanish. it was buried under pressure. Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscience researcher with 34 years of experience, built this audio around that restoration idea. Research conversations around gamma have been explored by places like MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other leading universities. The point is not to worship science. The point is to recognize that sometimes what your spirit calls discernment also has a pattern your brain can support. More than 18,366 people have used the Genius song, and the refund rate is kept below 4%. That matters because numbers alone do not prove trust. What matters is that most people who step into it continue past the guarantee window, not because they were pressured, but because they felt something become steadier. One woman, a 47-year-old manager in finance, almost gave up. For 18 days, she did not feel a dramatic lightning strike. She expected a sudden miracle, but the shift came quietly. By day 34, she noticed she was sleeping deeper, choosing faster, and no longer feeling trapped inside the same old fog at work. That is important for you. Not every breakthrough arrives as thunder. Some arrive as steadiness. Some arrive as one clear decision after weeks of confusion. Some arrive when you realize you no longer need to touch the thing that used to control your whole nervous system. That is a miracle too. Maybe you have tried meditation. Maybe you have tried spiritual retreats. Maybe you have downloaded apps, watched teachings, prayed late into the night, and still wondered why your mind keeps running back to the same old door. This is not because you are faithless. It may be because your inner system has been trained to live in alarm. A meditation app may cost around $15 every month. A growth course may cost $100 to $200. A spiritual retreat may cost $400 to $800. One therapy session can be around $150, and some professional brain feedback sessions can reach around $300 each. Those things may help some people, and there is no shame in using support. But most of them do not focus directly on gamma restoration. They do not speak to the exact moment when your spirit knows God said stay still, but your mind keeps demanding proof. That is why the Genius song is positioned differently. The original price is $49. For the viewers of this message, it is $39 as a one-time step, not a subscription. Dr. Lake wanted the audio to reach people who actually need clarity, not only people who can afford expensive sessions, retreats, or repeated programs. And the value does not stop with the 7-minute audio. There are 4 bonuses included. Genius Child is valued at $19. Classic Book is valued at $20. Guided Visualization is valued at $29. The 5-habit infographic is valued at $12. Together, the bonuses alone carry $80 in value. That means the core audio, the restoration framework, the 4 bonuses, and the protection of the guarantee are all connected to a $39 step. I am saying this plainly because confusion loves vague promises, but wisdom appreciates clarity. You should know what is being offered before your spirit decides. There is also a 90-day money-back guarantee, no complicated conditions, no returning a digital file. If you listen and decide it is not for you, you can ask for a full refund within 90 days. And even then, you still keep the 4 bonuses, because your time and trust should be respected. Now, hear this protection carefully. There are false pages and copycat versions using the name The Genius Song. Some are just ordinary sounds with no real brain entrainment structure. Do not search for it on Amazon. Do not search for it on YouTube. Do not search for it on Spotify. The verified path is in the description and the pinned comment. This is not fear language. This is protection language. Chosen ones are often targeted by counterfeit doors right after receiving a real instruction. The enemy does not always stop movement. Sometimes he redirects you toward the wrong version of what God permitted you to find. Pause for a moment. Place your hand over your chest if you can. Breathe slowly. Ask yourself one thing. Do I trust who God says I am enough to stop forcing what He is handling? Let the question sit inside you. Do not rush it. Let your spirit answer without panic. If the answer inside you is yes, the next step is simple. The original Genius song is placed below this message and in the pinned comment with the audio, bonuses, and guarantee. Follow that path only if your spirit feels aligned. You are not being pushed. You are being shown a door. But do not leave yet. The tool has been named and the path has been protected, but the stillness still has to be sealed. Because a chosen one can hear the warning, receive the clarity, and still need to speak agreement over the nervous system that wants to run back to the old cycle. The final part is where your obedience becomes declaration. This is where you release the urge to touch what God is handling. This is where your hands come off the case. This is where your spirit stops negotiating with fear. Stay with me, because the seal is next. Chosen one, take a slow breath now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands rest. You have carried the case long enough. You have turned it over in your mind long enough. And while fear kept asking you to check one more time, heaven was waiting for you to release the part that never belonged in your hands. This is the sacred moment of stillness, not the kind that comes from defeat, not the kind that comes from numbness. This is stillness with authority. This is the holy pause of someone who finally understands that obedience can be quiet, and quiet obedience can shake the unseen realm harder than loud resistance. God is not asking you to pretend you do not care. He knows you care. He knows you feel deeply. He knows every thought that has circled through your mind at night. But caring does not mean carrying what He removed. Love does not mean returning to confusion. Compassion does not mean reopening a door that heaven sealed for your protection. So let this truth settle. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to stop explaining. You are allowed to stop checking. You are allowed to stop proving your heart to people who keep benefiting from your exhaustion. The same God who gave you a tender spirit is now teaching that spirit how to stay guarded without becoming cold. This is the hour when your hands come off it. Your hands come off the outcome. Your hands come off the person. Your hands come off the message. Your hands come off the memory. And your hands come off the version of the story you keep replaying because some part of you still wants justice to arrive in a form you can control. But justice belongs to God. Timing belongs to God. Exposure belongs to God. Restoration belongs to God. And the shock coming next will not require your interference. It will require your obedience. The thing will move because God moves it. The truth will rise because truth cannot stay buried forever. In the next 24 to 72 hours, watch with peace, not obsession. A sign may come quietly. A person may reveal what they meant. A door may lose its pull. A message may arrive without you chasing it. Or a calm may enter your chest so strongly that you finally know the answer was not action, but release. Do not force the sign. Do not demand the sign. Do not create the sign because fear wants proof. Just remain still. God knows how to confirm His word without making you beg for confirmation. The evidence will not need your panic to appear. It will come in a way that makes your spirit say, "This is why I was told not to touch it." Now speak this within yourself. I release the urge to force what God is handling. I release the need to make people understand me. I release the fear that silence means I am losing. I release the old belief that my worth depends on being needed, chosen, answered, or chased by someone who could not honor my peace. Say it again, slowly. I will not touch what God is handling. I will not touch what God is exposing. I will not touch what God is removing. I will not touch what God is closing. I will not touch what God is preparing. My hands are not weak because they are still. My hands are surrendered because my faith is awake. Your stillness is not selfish. It is sacred. Your silence is not empty. It is guarded. Your waiting is not delay. It is alignment. And when the enemy sees that he can no longer make you move through panic, he loses one of the oldest doors into your life. That door is closing now. If they misunderstand you, let God defend you. If they walk away, let God reveal them. If the door closes, let God redirect you. If the delay stretches, let God mature you. If the silence deepens, let God speak beneath it. You are not abandoned in the pause. You are being trained in holy restraint. There is power in a chosen one who refuses to be baited. There is power in a heart that does not answer every accusation. There is power in a spirit that can feel grief and still obey. And there is power in hands that could reach back, but choose to remain open before God instead. This is not the end of your story. This is the end of your interference. This is not the loss of your promise. This is the protection of your promise. This is not God taking everything from you. This is God removing the things that would have touched the promise with unclean hands. You are entering a season where peace will become your proof. Not noise, not chasing, not constant signs. Peace. The kind of peace that sits with you in the morning. The kind that follows you into decisions. The kind that makes old temptation look smaller than it used to look. That peace is not weakness. It is government. Now make this declaration with your whole spirit. I stand still under the hand of God. I refuse to move from fear. I refuse to speak from panic. I refuse to reopen what heaven has closed. I refuse to touch what God has placed under His authority. My obedience is my protection. I break agreement with urgency that is not from God. I break agreement with guilt that disguises itself as compassion. I break agreement with control that disguises itself as wisdom. I break agreement with old wounds that demand new evidence. I break agreement with every cycle that only survives when I keep touching it. And if your spirit agrees, type these words below. I will not touch what God is handling. Let that comment become a witness, not to people, but to your own spirit. Let it mark the moment you stopped negotiating with fear. Let it mark the moment your hands came off the thing that kept draining your peace. You can also type, stillness is my obedience, or type, 777, I stand still. Do not write it as empty words. Write it as a seal. Write it as a line in the sand. Write it as the moment the old cycle lost the version of you that kept feeding it access. And if this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, subscribe and stay close, not because of a channel, because your next instruction may arrive when your emotions are loud again. You need reminders that pull your spirit back into alignment before your old pattern gets a chance to speak first. Chosen one, you are not leaving this message the same way you entered it. Something has been interrupted, something has been restrained, something has been lifted from your hands, and even if your situation looks the same for a little while, your authority inside it has changed. That is the beginning of the shock. The shock is that they expected you to react, but you stayed still. The shock is that fear expected you to chase, but you surrendered. The shock is that the old door expected your hand, but you let it close. The shock is that heaven moved stronger when you stopped moving from panic. So do not touch it. Do not return to it. Do not dress disobedience as closure. Do not make fear sound spiritual. Do not reach for the thing God has already taken into His hands. Rest now. Watch now. Trust now. Your stillness is not the end of the miracle. It is the doorway through which the miracle enters.